I've done breathwork events before, but what I really appreciated about this one was the headphone aspect. So it kind of puts you in your own little private bubble, but even though you're sharing the room with other people, so there's a sense of community, but you kind of have your own little space, and it's directly into your ears, so you don't have to turn your head and look around and listen. It's like just the information is brought to you. I wasn't nervous or anything because I like doing stuff like this, but especially like the restorative one was, I knew it was going to be really gentle, so I wasn't concerned about that one at all. But when I did the transformational one, I was just a little nervous about what it was going to come up. However, nothing comes up that we're not ready for, and no one can make anybody go deeper than they're going to go. Nobody can make me breathe deeper than I'm going to breathe. Nobody can toss me out of it or put me or bring me back in. It's all up to me. So it can't really be that scary. Well, in the recording, there's vocal prompts. And so it's kind of just bringing you back in time to remember something that maybe you hadn't thought of in a while. So that can be a little bit surprising when you're, oh, I hadn't thought of that. And when you're already in this open, vulnerable place, it can kind of bring up like old emotions. We all have blindfolds on, but my eyes were like watering underneath. I wasn't crying. I didn't feel like I was sobbing. I just felt like there was like liquid coming out and just expressing by tears. My body felt pretty relaxed, but there's a few parts where you hold your breath and you just feel this like pressure building, 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 and then you release it. And it felt really great, especially having Noah in the room because he's kind of monitoring everybody, and he can sense if you're heightened, and he just comes and he puts a hand on your chest or he puts his hand on your head, and you just feel grounded and you're brought back to earth kind of thing. So you can't really take off too high without coming back down, and just the little gesture of a hand. Oh, it's like I'm not alone. I'm in the room with other people. So I felt like that was a helpful to process the stuff that was coming up. My throat got pretty dry too when I was with all the deep breathing, because it's a lot of mouth breathing, but you just stop and wet your lips again and just keep going. So it's not that uncomfortable. What else? I didn't get any of the cramping. I've had that before in other breath work, so I was prepared for it if it was going to happen, but I don't remember if it happened this time or not. But I know that it does happen where everything gets cramped because everything is like going to your central core system to like keep you safe. Well, at the beginning of the journey, Noah does a really great job of educating us on the power of the breath movement, the deep breathing, all the different breathing techniques as well. And I think it's just such a great reminder because we're always breathing, but we're not breathing intentionally for most of the day. And it's such a life force within us. And when we tap into the power of the breath, there's just so much more available. We're just more present in our bodies, in our body. But I would say for somebody who's not sure if they should try it, I would say just get in and do it, because it's only scary if you make it scary, and no one's you can't, until you experience it, you won't be able to understand really what the journey is all about. The tracks coming through the headset are also really helpful. There's a track of just the breathing, which I think that's the core of the event, is the breath pattern. And when you get lost, or if you kind of daydream, you hear the breath and it reminds me of the pattern that you're meant to be breathing at that time. So that's a nice consistent thing throughout the whole track. And then there's the music. There's like little mountains that you climb, you hear music kind of swelling, and there's like, movie moments where where you're like having these epiphanies. And then there's just the nice steady beats in the background, and then you can hear his vocal coaching too, which is, there's just so many things that you can tether to keep you in the experience. You can't really distract yourself, or just kind of wander with your thoughts, because there's so much to remind you to stay in the moment. I kind of felt like once I started digging, there was more to come up. So I realized that just doing one event almost isn't enough. It's like just starting to peel away the layers. It's something that you want to keep doing more often, because there's just new stuff to remember, new stuff to release and let go of. So it's not all going to happen in one session. So I kind of left feeling like, wow, that was a lot. but I also feel like this is bottomless. I felt like I just knew that I wasn't done. I knew that there's more. There's more. There's like a lifetime of accumulation of stuff in my body, and so it's going to take its time to unravel and release out of me and make more space for new experiences. Yes, I definitely recommend it. With the two different styles, there's a more gentle version for people who might be a little nervous. If they're feeling nervous or intimidated or anything, I would recommend starting with that one, just because it's more relaxing and it's just a gentle entry into it. If you feel like you've got stuff to move and you want to get it done and you're not afraid of going deep, you're not afraid of feeling things, you're not afraid of being vulnerable and trying something that could bring up a lot of stuff, I would absolutely recommend it. We can all benefit. We can all benefit from letting go of stuff that we've been holding on to that doesn't have to be stuck in there. Okay. There's a few points in the journey where you hold your breath and you build up this pressure and then you let out a big scream. And by that point, you just feel so ready to purge it out of your body. But it brings up such upheaval, and there was a moment where I felt like, I'm kind of too big for my body. And then I sensed that Noah was nearby, and he just put his hand, it was on my belly, I think, my chest and my belly. And it just brought me down and just reminded me where I was. And it just felt, it felt comforting. I never felt like he approached me. I mean, I had a blindfold on too, so I'm totally in my own bubble, my own experience. But he never came at me and startled me. Like, he didn't just put his hands. He's really gentle. He'll start really soft and just kind of let you know he's there. And then the pressure comes once and he knows that he's there. There was, I think he squeezed my feet at one point. I think he pressed on my shoulders. It's all respectful and it's all gentle. And he also mentions at the beginning that he will be doing touching, but if anybody doesn't want that, then they're allowed to opt out at any time. So you're not going to be touched if you don't want to be touched, if you're not comfortable with it. But it does feel good. I mean, it's helpful to have the hands-on pressure just to release, because especially if you're tight like this and you don't even notice that you're doing it until someone's like tapping. Oh. So there's just room for things to flow. I'd say just the breathwork education before the journey is really helpful. There's a lot of good instruction. Noah really does a great job of putting together the presentation and talks you through all of the techniques so that you're entering it feeling more confident and comfortable. It would be confusing if he just had us all lay down and start and we just go and we have to follow along, because there's a little bit more to understand rather than just, okay, go. So I really appreciate that he comes in with all the knowledge. He shares the knowledge. He makes sure everyone's prepared before they enter into the journey. So you're really taken care of. You get really comfortable and then you just go for it. I think we all breathe anyway, and we all have experiences that are stored in our body. So I think a breathwork journey is amazing for anybody who breathes, and we all breathe.
Be free. Boundless potential. By working together, each of us can achieve our greatest potential and realize our most ambitious goals.